Perfect time.
Good evening. I'd like to call the village board meeting for the village of Cary for Tuesday, February 5th, 2019 to order with roll call, please.
McAlpine?
Here.
Covelli? Here. Kraus?
Here.
Kostler?
Here.
Betts? Here.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I have two people that had signed in. Michael Vicek, he's our new county board member for our district, which is number 1, of course.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. I came tonight because I wanted to formally meet you. Some of you I've already met socially, and I thought it was important that we would spend just a moment to introduce myself. I live in Greenfield subdivision, and so as such, I've been a resident here for almost 25 years, and so as such, I have an idea of what happens in our district. And so what I want to do is just introduce myself. I hope to be able to come more often. I realize that some politicians, and I throw myself in that name, say that, and then they don't come back again. And I disagree with that. I want to come and visit you. And the mayor and I have been texting each other, and we're going to try to set up a time where you and I, and as well as any of the other board members or administrator, would like to talk about economic development or strategic planning, because the board at the county level is going to try to get together and start doing that in March. And so I need to have your input as it is that we can serve the constituents, not only of Cary, but also of the entire district and the county. With your permission, Mayor, I'd like to just give you my card.
Sure.
Thank you for that. Also, I invite you to the county board meetings, and the county board meetings is publicly announced, and it'll be on Tuesday nights, or you can come to our call meeting, which is on Thursday mornings, and so you're more than welcome to do that. I will be serving on finance and audit in our on the county position, as well as public health and community services. So I'll be doing 2 committees, and if they assign me to other areas, I'll be more than willing to do that. So I look forward to working with you to be able to share in your dreams and aspirations for the constituents of Cary and as our district. And I hope that you'll be free to give me a call anytime you want or send me a note, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. And so thank you for your time. Have a pleasant evening and be safe.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Michael. Randy Kohler?
What a wonderful evening, right? I'd like to address the board on a serious problem that has been going on for, I think, almost as long as I've lived here. And I've addressed it to the Public Works a number of times. And the primary problem is that the snowplows tend to put the snow where it doesn't belong. And that's on the corners of the intersections, on the top of the crosswalks and the sidewalks. Now, I went through this with almost every director previously here. I spoke with Eric last year about it, and Eric was enough to say, okay, we're going to do some training. We'll talk to the drivers about that. Now, the problem that I see is it's still going on. Not everywhere. It never went on everywhere. But it's really pretty easy to clean an intersection of snow without intentionally taking the truck, backing it up, getting a full plow of snow and pushing it on top of a sidewalk on the corner of the intersection, and then doing that multiple time after time. What you end up with there is something that residents cannot remove. It can be as high as 4 feet or more, and you can't remove it. So even if you're trying to be a good citizen, clean your sidewalks, let people through. I mean, it creates a real danger and a hazard, terrible hazard. I mean, I'm a pedestrian. I walk my dog twice a day. Okay, what's the alternative? Walk out on the street and go around these things? Well, in the conditions that we have today, that's not a very safe thing. The other thing is, it's especially dangerous because if you do have them high, you're blocking visibility at intersections because you're piling it right on the corners and you're piling it high. The other thing is that it blocks the storm sewers because on many of the corners, there are storm drains. I have one on the corner at my house and it gets filled every single time, packed full of snow when they do this. Now, last year it happened once. They partially did it this year. It wasn't piled really high this year, but it has been in the past at my place. This year it's a pile about this high. But the problem is it's like a rock. You need a pickaxe to get through it. And, I just can't see that residents should have to go through that just to try to keep the sidewalk at the intersection clear. The other issue is that it concentrates the chemicals that you put on the roads, on the corners, and in cases where there's trees and other foliage, it can kill them. I had a tree on my parkway, on my corner, killed because in the springtime, I had a pile of salt right at the base of that tree, and it killed the tree. The other thing is that, it's a liability for the city, for the village. And why is it a liability? Because this isn't natural. You're creating the problem when the driver dumps it there. I respect everything that they do here. They do a great job of clearing the streets and all that stuff. And I'm not asking for them to do more. I'm actually asking them to do less. Because if they don't do this, if they don't put it on the sidewalk, then they don't have to go back and shovel out the storm sewer. They don't have to go back and shovel out the sidewalk. I'll do that because it's just the same amount that I have to shovel out at the end of my driveway. None of us like that when the plow goes by and we got this much to shovel out at the end of the driveway after we cleaned it. But it's doable. The problem I have is this stuff is a packed wall of ice because it's done with a big truck and a plow smashing it time after time there. Now, if you go out and just look around tonight, we've had, 3 or 4 days of warm weather. You go look at some of these corners. It's still got a pile there. So it doesn't go away right away when it gets warm. It's there for a long time. And it's a hazard. So I would, like I said, I've addressed this many times with the Public Works. This is the first time in front of you folks. I think that because of the issues involved, it's not going to cost you anything. You just got to put a policy in place that works. That's all. Just don't do it. Figure out a way. Train the drivers so that they can sweep around the corners and the intersections without piling it on top of the sidewalks. Thanks.
Thank you. Those are the only two I had signed in. Is there anybody else who would like to address the village board? Any other comments for the village board? All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment, 6:08. I have a few things on my report today. First, an employee recognition for Michael Lorenz, who's been with the police department for 10 years. Michael, do you want to join me up front? It's nice that we have some command staff back here supporting this young man.
Good, how are you? Officer Lorenz has been with the department for 10 years, obviously, because that's what we're recognizing him for, but he also serves in the capacity of an officer in charge and a field training officer. And he's a very dependable police officer, always willing to work.
And from what I see on this check, it's very large.
I remember.
He's also a resident.
That's why I thought I was doing them like a
That's
gun.
good. So, thank you very much for your service. Stay safe out there.
For trustee.
On that note, I would like to, I consider our public works department and our police department our first responders. And I want to thank them for all their hard work and diligence and showing up to do the job that everybody else was holed up in their homes and their offices during the polar vortex. And our public works and police department were out there serving the village of Cary. So I greatly appreciate all the efforts that you do as well as the rest of the board. You guys do a great job. So thank you for your service.
I just like to add too, it's all staff. We had our call takers, taking numerous calls on last week when we had the cold weather, and appreciate people coming out when it's 20 plus below zero.
Thank you. And then one more thing, the Cary Grove Chamber of Commerce had their annual dinner, and the village was awarded a certificate of excellence for our outgoing partnership with the chamber and business community. So we accepted that award. Trustee McAlpine, Trustee Betts, and I were in attendance to that. It was very well attended. I think their largest crowd that they had. It was at the new Avante banquet hall. It was quite an event, and it's amazing to see the business community come together. So we thank you for this. We will probably display this up at the front counter.
Yep,
Thank
absolutely.
you, Jake. I was not made aware of any trustee reports. Is there anything I need to?
I want to say two things.
Okay.
First of all, I just wanted to thank Brian. I was able to attend the UDO, the open meeting, a week ago Thursday, and it was a great job. I mean, Levine, everyone, you guys, the actual displays that you had of everything with regards to what was changing, how it was, what was transitioning, and then reasons why. I thought you guys did a very good job, so I wanted to pass along thanks for that, as well as a few of us were able to attend the McCog meeting. Michael, we chatted with you there also, and it was nice to see that an agenda is set to help kind of the county, per se, for certain things that we're going to be moving forward on. So just to anyone that wasn't able to attend, we kind of said we wanted to report on those type of things, what was happening. So that's what that meeting was about.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items number 1 through 5 as shown on the village's website and is displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Costler,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Betts,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Cavelli. Yes.
Thank you. And I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution implementing a public comment policy.
So moved.
Second.
We talked about this at length on several different meetings. We all came to a consensus at the last village board meeting. Thank you to Trustee Weinhammer, although she's not here tonight, that she was the one that asked to have this brought back. Any other questions on that?
I just want to say that I'm absolutely thrilled. We've been trying to get this passed for a couple of years, so I think it's fantastic. It's something we're tasked with doing, with making sure, not only did our the Attorney General asked us to have this in place to make sure that we had something set, but it's also for all of our residents or anyone else that's seeking to come before the board so that they know what the expectations are. So I'm very excited that our board worked together on this and is getting something for public policy done.
I do want to apprise the board, too, within the public comment policy that's before you, we had significant, well, some discussion at the previous committee of the whole meeting related to the amount of time that we'd provide speakers. The comment policy that's before you is included a 3-minute time limit for speakers. Here's some of the debate at the meeting was between 3 and 5 minutes. So just want to make sure the board was apprised of that before voting on this.
Thank you. I would have still preferred 5 minutes, but if majority of the board is in favor of 3, I will support the 3 minutes.
Well, as usual, you all know that I'm pretty cordial with people that come and talk to the village board to give them ample opportunity to make sure that they're heard. I think this is more in tune for when we have larger events, when we have more people here for something that is near and dear to them. But for the most part, I think most of the people, they limit their comments to well within that. And at any given time, the board can decide that they want to offer some more time. So it's pretty a fluid document. Courtney, roll call, please.
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Costler,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Thank you. And as a matter of information, we are continuing the approval of an ordinance accepting a warranty deed for the transfer of property from Lafarge Aggregates Meyer Material to the Village of Cary. That has been continued to the February 19th, 2019 Village Board meeting. Moving to Village Administrator's Report.
Mayor and Village Board, I just wanted to remind the public here of our upcoming budget meetings. We're in the throes right now of our budget process. We will have a capital improvement plan, our 5-year CIP, will be considered and reviewed by the Village Board at our next meeting on February 19th at the Committee of the Whole. And then on March 16th at 9 a.m. Here in the Village Boardroom, we'll be reviewing all funds. So we'll go over our general fund, but then all village funds will be reviewed at that meeting prior to adoption of the budget in early April. That's all I had.
Thank you, Jake. Chief Finland, Director Morimoto.
That's one quick item. We already spoke about the winter response. Obviously, it's been a very busy week for a lot of agencies out there. Just as a little quick summary, the past 3 weeks, we've had the majority of our efforts with snow removal, de-icing, low temperature issues, freezing rain, and just making sure everybody tonight takes care in driving home with the ice warning that's currently under effect. Just the season in summary, we've had 31 winter events that we've responded to so far as of February 1st. That's not including this last couple days. And of those, 20 have involved overnight or after hours plowing and salting events. So our staff has definitely put in a lot of effort and work. We're appreciative of their time there, and we'll continue that as we move forward through the rest of the season. Any questions on the response, we're happy to answer.
Thank you, Eric. Director Simmons?
Just a real brief reminder that next Thursday, the village will be hosting a public hearing to review the proposed Unified Development Ordinance and the proposed changes to the zoning map. As Trustee McAlpine mentioned, we did have an open house. It was attended by about 30 to 40 residents that showed up that had questions on it. And since the time period, we've sent out notifications to a number of property owners within the community of proposed zoning map changes and also the code updates. That I've been answering phone calls and residents on from in advance of that meeting. So if you do continue to receive any questions from the community, feel free to forward them to my attention. I'd be more than happy to answer those questions to give them information of what is changing and how it might affect their property.
Before I talked to you last night about, because I've been notified that there's a big social media thing going on about the demise of Village Hall and the police department. And I was wondering if you could explain, I said that we would hopefully talk about it tonight. I was hoping that some of the people would show up because I talked to a couple residents as well as the Northwest Herald called about it as well. They picked up on this. So could you just explain why we're rezoning Village Hall's property and that we are not going to be tearing down this facility?
Certainly. There's actually, within the map amendments that are proposed, there's three primary themes that are proposed. One, specifically looking at an older area of town that was developed pre-1980s, if you will. We found through our zoning analysis that a lot of those properties don't comply with our current zoning regulations from a lot size, lot setback, or lot width standpoint. So as part of the proposed code update, we're creating a new zoning district, which is the R2A district, which would rezone all those properties to a zoning classification that would be appropriate for the development that's already occurred there. A second change is within the code right now, we have 4 zoning districts that speak towards parks and open spaces. We're consolidating those into one singular district. And then rezoning any open space lands that would be appropriate for that district into that classification. So Hoffman Park, Fox Bluff Conservation Area, Lions Park examples, and also small community parks like Hampton Park or Jamesway Park would be rezoned to that PO district. The third change, or third primary area that's being affected is we're, again, consolidating down zoning districts, so similar to the PO district, going from 4 of those districts down to 1. We are eliminating or proposing to eliminate a few business districts within the district that are very seldom used throughout the community, specifically the B4 district, which is currently is about 5 properties in the village have that zoning designation, and then the BP district, which is 3 pockets of areas that are zoned BP. This building is currently zoned business park district, so with the elimination of that zoning classification, we're proposing to rezone this property to the R1 single family residential district, which is the same zoning as the single family homes, which are in the Trout Valley Association directly to the east of this building. The municipal building would still be a permitted use within the district. The R1 district is appropriate for single family homes, but also for uses that support single-family residential uses. So churches, daycares, municipal buildings are all permitted uses within that district. So the proposed rezoning, there's no plans to do anything with the building at this time. It's proposed to, with the elimination of the business park district, which would allow, example, a manufacturing facility to go on this property by right. It's proposed to rezone it to a district that is more appropriate for the existing use, but also appropriate with the surrounding land uses as well. So that hopefully answers your question as far as the plans for this building, but then also the 3 major changes for the code in general.
Okay.
Also, Brian, can you explain too that, you and I chatted about this too, that another benefit to this for our residents is that when they're in the proper, if it's properly zoned for them, like lot size, they're not going to have to come in necessarily for variances, pay the $750 to different, there's going to be some savings to our residents in the long run with this type of consolidation.
Yeah, that's correct. For the most part, with the R2A district as an example, there are majority of those properties that are within that area that's proposed to be rezoned don't comply with current regulations. So if somebody wanted to do an improvement to their home, build a deck, patio, screen porch, they may not comply with our regulations currently. They are non-conforming from certain areas, so they would have to go through the variance process in order to get relief from the code. With the proposed changes, it will bring a lot of those properties into compliance. There may still be the need, depending on the certain circumstances of their property, they may have to go through that variance process. But it'll make a lot of properties that currently don't conform to our regulations be in compliance with the regulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Any future agenda items in discussion by the village board?
Go ahead, Kim.
Just going to ask for an update on the social media.
Yeah, we're in the process right now of putting together a policy and also behind the scenes putting together a Facebook page. So we plan at the next meeting to bring the policy before the village board for approval. Hope to get it approved that night on the February 19th, and then have the Facebook page go live shortly thereafter.
Perfect. I have one more item too. I was approached by some residents that live by the river wanting to know, we don't currently have anything, an ordinance for golf carts to be able to use them when they're driving, kind of using golf carts just down by there. So I brought it to Jake's attention, and he said that would be something that we could possibly talk about at the committee of the whole. I'd like to know if we could at least explore that for certain areas.
You're talking about the Janda subdivision down on Mildred?
Yes.
Yeah, Marquette, Mildred.
Marquette, Mildred.
Yeah. Is that something the board is interested in talking about at the committee level?
Sure.
I would be.
I have no problem with that.
Discussion.
Right.
Well, is there a pressing time frame for
I don't
that?
think there's a pressing time frame.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Okay.
think this type of year that it's pressing to get a golf cart out and drive it, but,
Yeah,
I'm
I
ready
think-
for golf. So.
I'm sure a lot of people are, but,
Yeah, so in a future, like the next couple
Right.
meetings are going to be
I
pretty
just
packed.
Yeah,
thought I'd get
I'd
it out
advise it.
there.
Push it out a little bit.
I'd advise it won't be on the next, we've got a pretty
Right.
full agenda in the next
That's
meeting.
fine.
But yeah, I'll talk with the chief and we'll get
Anything
something
else
dialed
from
up.
this side? Nothing, Chris? No. Okay. We will not be having an executive session this evening, and therefore I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Stay safe.
Okay.